sound of people splashing around in the water at our local swimming pool really takes me back to a simpler time in my life. When I added this soundtrack, I felt a warm glow of nostalgia wash over me. I was 13 years old again. However, this warmth was rapidly quenched when I realized just how cold that water was when first getting in. It was always freezing. Yet swimming was only part of this experience. The social aspect, we could leave our homes for the day with just a towel and a shilling, 5p today, to converge on this hub where many in the town would be enjoying a form of interactivity seems lost to another era today. This is actually a sign that was taken down from the pool, and I love the messages that are here. Practically every one of these things I saw broken on a daily basis. And today you look at the things like no petting. How would they judge that? Anyway, times are different then. This view shows just how crowded this place got during the summer. And up the top there you can see the south-facing terrace, which had 3 levels. And depending on where you were in the social scene, you progress from the kiddies end, if you will, the shallow end, right up to the end with all the diving boards, the deep end where all the, let me say, the cool kids were. This is looking along the west end of the pool where the kiddies end was. And you can see there's the fountain there, waterfall, which is always making a lot of noise. And right up behind it was a touch of, I can remember many times standing up there, mostly shivering in line, waiting to buy some sweets with a few pennies that I had for the day. Here's a page taken from my Gosport Reflections book. It clearly shows how it used to be and what the state of it is today. Just a car park, unfortunately. But there we are. But I could line this one up using Trinity Tower. It was a perfect alignment point to make sure these two images were perfectly set up. When carrying out the research for the Reflections book, I made inquiries as to why the swimming pool was closed, and the best response I could get was that it was too expensive to maintain and Holbrook could just come online and it was more profitable as it would run all year round as an indoor pool. Well, that's fair enough from a commercial perspective, if you will, but the part that Holbrook never achieved for me was the fact that the outdoor swimming pool was a social centre. You were there for a whole day with very little money, and the swimming was part of it, but a lot of it was interacting with your friends over a prolonged period, usually doing most of the things you're not meant to be doing, as indicated on that poster I showed earlier on. Those of you familiar with my work will know that I always like to add little personal touches and cameos into these paintings, and this is no different. The little girl there with the blonde hair is my wife, Patricia, or Tishy as she's known, getting sticklebacks out of the cockle pond with her brother. As a kiddie in the 1960s, I can recall standing on top of that diving board, looking across the fence at that water there, and thinking, I didn't know where that came from. Of course, now I know that was part of the old moat. This close up from the left hand side is showing the rear view of the Ritz Cinema. And then just moving across, you can see the building was originally the Labour Exchange. Building, it was built in the 40s, but looked a lot more modern than that at the time. Then on from that is the now long gone Connaught Drill Hall. Then over beyond that into the distance is the Gosport Museum and Art Gallery. And as we pan across a bit more to the right, is the original town hall, Thorngate Hall, showing the centre roof section completely missing, having been burned out during the bombing raids by the German Luftwaffe in World War II. And then coming down from there, there's a White House. Well, that was the residency of the manager of the swimming pool, who during my time was there, was a Mr. Tweedale. There was a Brill machine dispenser installed at the pool. For those of you who don't know, it was a rather sort of greasy, dark hair product for men, particularly in the 50s. And I can still recall my dear old dad rubbing that into his hair on a daily basis. This is quite a rare photograph. Shows the deep end of the pool with the springboard, the diving boards, and slide. And you can see there doesn't appear to be many people around. Well, given that this place used to open up at the beginning of May, and the angle of those shadows and the length of them, which looks to be in the late afternoon, I'm not surprised there weren't many people down there at that time. Even to this day, when I'm out walking the dog with my wife and it's early May and the weather's dreadful, I say, I can remember when the swimming pool used to be open at this time, and we used to go down there at 9:30 in the morning for a swimming lesson with the school. And over on the boating lake beyond the swimming pool, you could hear the sound. Come in, boat number 4. A sound all too familiar to us older residents, when the caretaker of the boathouse and let us know in no uncertain terms that our time was up on the boats. I've highlighted the moat on this old map in green, probably an appropriate colour really, considering it was pretty stagnant, and the pool in blue. And from its humble beginnings in 1927, this pool area, which was clearly cut out of part of the moat, evolved into an Art Deco type complex that we all knew as kids. In the upper part of the map, you can see some old buildings that are highlighted as ruins. Well, one is the Ritz Cinema, having only opened in 1937, was bombed out during World War II only a few years later. Similarly, the Town Hall, or Thorngate Hall as it was known, is also shown in ruins. So there we are, childhood memories of our times spent what seemed to be endless summer days down at the Gosport open air swimming pool. I certainly missed it, and my children growing up, I think they would have loved that experience, but it's all gone now. Some people judge an artist by how they portray water. There's various aspects to portraying water, whether it's seawater, harbour water, river, in this case swimming pool. They can have different shades of greens, blues, how much the sky reflects on it, etc. And this one was no different really, because this water, there were 9 layers to produce this. I underpainted in acrylic, then I had to put various blues, and then you have to reflect the sky, how much is reflecting onto the water, then you've got the splashes and the ripples, etc., and then some overglazing on the top. So challenging, but hopefully it's come out not too bad, and I hope you think so too. If you've enjoyed this video, you might want to take a look at my website, where you can see all of my work that I've done to date and purchase various prints, greeting cards, etc.